Mark Zuckerberg, as you guys know, had gone on the Joe Rogan show. Many people watch it, and he's on there to do. I mean, it's clear, he still has this relationship enough that he can go on the show. Joe Rogan's the kind of guy that doesn't really say no to an interview, especially somebody who wants to come on, and he didn't think he got heard as well last time. And he wants to explain, because we got him on a couple of those clips of that last interview he had where he's admitting to meeting with the FBI every month and getting instructions. And he said, no, they're not instructions. They were more like suggestions. And Rogan was like, are they suggestions? How many of those suggestions did you not listen to? He said none. That was a big moment. I know he wanted to make up for that and come back, save some face, but we did find, and we didn't have a chance to watch this whole thing. So I apologize if viewers, if you guys have seen the whole thing, or Jay, if you've seen it, I did find this one clip. So let's start with this, and I want you to drive this one from here. But this is Mark Zuckerberg, a clip from him on Rogan. Again, he's like, this is like round two. Let's see how well he does. Here we go.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse, and it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Oh, did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we were, but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails. the emails are published. It's all kind of out there, and they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, like this sort of like class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. And we just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. And then at some point, I guess, I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people. And I don't know, then like all these different agencies and branches of government basically just like started investigating, coming after our company. It was brutal. It was brutal.
Wow.
Thoughts, Jay Scott?
Yeah, so all he's trying to do is put all the blame on Biden, right? But the truth is, this started under Trump. Like, I remember I was doing a live stream talking about the COVID vaccine, and talking about COVID, early on. And I had mentioned the Nuremberg Code, and I was doing this live stream only on Facebook. I was doing it to my Facebook audience, and as soon as I mentioned the phrase Nuremberg Code, live stream got cut. So for him to suggest that this is all on Joe Biden is patently false. It's definitely not like only on Joe Biden. Trump people in the Trump administration participated in censorship before. They were the ones who created the emergency use authorization.
Yes.
They were the ones who did the CARES Act. So all it is they want you to think that the problem is over. Now that Biden's out of office and we got the good guy back in who's against the deep state, which is Donald Trump, you have nothing to worry about anymore. And the truth is, Trump might be marginally better on some issues. In my opinion, he's worse on some issues too. But when it comes to censorship, Trump has expressly said that he wants to prosecute people who are quote unquote anti-Semitic. And now we have written into law that like if you consider yourself an anti-Zionist, that can be classified as anti-Semitic. Now, let's just think about what that means. Zionism is a political ideology. It's actually racist and discriminatory to tie a political ideology to a race or an ethnicity. It's like saying, it's the equivalent of saying it's the equivalent of saying if you're black, you got to vote for Joe Biden. It's like for Jewish people. Like if you're Jewish, you got to be Zionist. So you can't tie a political ideology to a race and an ethnicity. But the people Trump is putting in power are gung ho about censoring, criticism of Israel, and they're using the phrase anti-Zionism to do that. And even in Mark Zuckerberg's revelations, like when you listen to the interview, one of the parts that stood out the most to me was he said, "We're getting rid of the fact checkers, except for Israel. Like, we're still going to crack down on anti-Zionism, not just anti-Semitism." He used the phrase anti-Zionism. We're cracking down on anti-Zionism, but we're going to allow free speech. We're going to, encourage political talk. Just don't talk about Israel. So
Yeah.
yeah, and really quick, again, for those who've never heard me talk before, I'm half Ashkenazi myself. I have nothing against Jewish people. I do consider myself to be anti-Zionist, but I have nothing at all against Jewish people. It's not about the people, and I don't even think Zionists are the ones running the world. I think they're a useful tool to the most powerful people in the world, and they're the battering ram that's being used by the forces behind them, because there is a group of people who do strongly believe that they're entitled to that land, in my opinion, because of brainwashing. But that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Yeah, and we should be allowed to have these conversations and give our speculation. And you have a right to say, I think there's somebody controlling them above that. And somebody else has a right to say, well, I think it stops. I think the buck stops there, without anybody being racist or as you get this special word. It's a special word, anti-Semite. It's separate from being racist. But why are we talking about that? It's these are deflectors. These are protective tools, and we see it all over this. Weaponizing diversity. We see it all the time, right? If you don't vote for Obama, you're racist. If you don't vote for Hillary, you're sexist. If you don't vote for Kamala, you're racist and sexist. So there you go with that. But it's like this is a technique that I think the left continues to fall for. I hope they can wake up to this soon. Let's look at this is an analysis. I like this tweet from 5 times August. Here's an interpretation. I love this. I was like, screw you, government. You can't tell me what to do. But then I do what they told me to do. And then I mandated everyone at my company to get the shot. And then I donated $400 million to help get Biden elected. But rest assured, the whole time I was doing it out of protest. That's about the long and short of it. Yep. Yeah. Let's look at the TikTok thing. We're going to probably cover that more when we get closer, but we do know that the data's coming up. Can you tell us, just to kind of tie a bow on this, and why do you think there's some timing to this, of why Zuckerberg's being vocal right now about changing the platform? What does he have to do? Is this completely independent? But this is what we know. We know that the TikTok ban looks like it's coming to fruition. It's going to happen very soon from now, on the 19th. We'll see. We're going to keep tabs on this, but I just want to let's tie this together. Is there significance, if at all, Jay, on the timing of this coming down the pipeline with Zuckerberg making these changes at Facebook?
Yeah, I think for sure, especially because when you look at the reason why the TikTok ban is happening in the first place, when you look into the arguments, coming from the ADL, they're essentially saying TikTok is one of the main reasons why young people are against Palestine. Are turning against Israel, because they're able to share the information and it's going pretty viral on TikTok. So these social media companies are going to be directly competing for that attention time. So the attention time that was going to TikTok now is either going to go to Twitter, it's going to go to Facebook, it's going to go to Instagram, maybe Blue Sky. It's going to go to one of these other apps. So they all want to position themselves for those people who are going to be looking for the next wave of video content. All these social media companies are competing for that, and that's why it's funny, because Elon Musk just announced essentially that they're launching a feature that is pretty much comparable, from what I understand, to what TikTok does within X. So right now, you have like the For You feed, you have the following feed, and then they're going to have a media feed. So there's going to be 3 feeds that you can go to, And when you click on media, from my understanding, it's pretty much going to be like a TikTok style thing. So Mark Zuckerberg is essentially coming out and saying, "Hey, we already have Instagram Reels. Reels. He didn't tie it together like this, but we know Instagram Reels exists, and that's also another form of like that video content. You guys who were putting political content on TikTok, come do that on Instagram Reels," because he said they're no longer going to be deboosting political content, but he made sure to add in there for all the Zionists and the lawmakers who want to protect Israel. He made sure to add it in there that, oh, we're still going to censor anti-Zionist and anti-Semitic content. So they want to have the best of both worlds, and his phrasing from how he described the rules of enforcement moving forward tell me that he's trying to have the best of both worlds. And for those who don't know, he wants to implement like a community note style, like community note style fact checking, I guess you could say, on Facebook, where users themselves can present information, and it's not just like a select group of quote unquote fact checkers. So he's taking Elon Musk's model a little bit there, which honestly, I do think if you're gonna have any type of fact checking on your platform, that's probably the best way to go. So I am in favor of that. I just think we need to include Zionism as just another political ideology that can be critiqued or supported depending on where you stand of it. But we shouldn't have one political ideology elevated above everything else that cannot be critiqued at all. Like America is a quote unquote capitalist country, and yet we can critique capitalism, but we can't critique Zionism, a political ideology that's supposed to be in support of the existence of another country. It doesn't make sense, especially when that country wouldn't exist without our tax dollars. And that's just my opinion. I don't think Israel would exist if we didn't give unlimited support and unconditional financial and military support to Israel, because all they've done is cause trouble throughout that entire region. And other countries know if they attack Israel, they got to deal with America because we support them unconditionally. And that's the only reason they still exist.
Yeah. No, that's a great assessment. And like we should know this instinctually. We should understand that you can't say we're going to change things up. We're going to stop with these fake fact checkers, but we're going to make this exception. We're going to make this exception. It doesn't make any sense. And you guys, if you haven't been paying attention, if you haven't gone down the rabbit hole, you understand our relationship with Israel as Jay's talking about. And actually, let me bring this back here. So if you guys haven't been fully paying attention to that and understanding this relationship we've had with Israel, as Jay's mentioning, this should just sound the alarm on you anyways. Just this. How can you be for changing things up? Like, hey, we're sorry about how things went before. We're going to change it up. We're going to make sure you guys have a place to speak and be free, except for anti-Semitism. Well, why would you do that? You're not doing that for anyone else. What about any other quote unquote minority that has issues that for their community? Why are you not mentioning that? Why not LGBT? Why not? So what is the significance here? Is this you having a heart and protecting people that can't protect themselves, or is this you taking instructions from your handlers, from the people that handle your ass? And I think we know the answer to that question, but we want people to just be a little more curious when they see.
That's a great point. You can literally talk about anybody. You can talk crap about black people, white people, LGBTQ, anybody, but anti-Semitism is the one form of discrimination that will not be tolerated. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. And no one else is suffering. No one else is suffering can compare. And that's the lesson we've learned. And me too, as a Weinglass, you guys know, it's something like I'm like, huh. I guess I've had a life of suffering, but I don't really feel like I have, which is very interesting. That's another, we've talked about that on the show. I'm not sure if that really lines up with my experience, but that's just one guy's experience. I have not felt that. In fact, in Hollywood, it's actually something that helps me a lot getting into rooms. I've told people this. I get meetings that I generally don't think I would get But the name helps me for sure. It really does. And to be very clear, it's a name that was pulled out of a hat by my mom, so I do not actually have any ancestry of any sort at all in that timeline. I am a European, Eastern European descent, but and the name's just a name, and I haven't complained about it. No, I haven't felt any of that. And that's just again my experience. Jay, do you think this TikTok ban is going to happen? Is this going to go on the 19th, or is there a way out of this? Are we ready? Are people getting ready? Is that what's happening right now?
To be honest with you, my feeling is it probably will, especially because Trump has said one of his top concerns is censoring, quote unquote, anti-Semitism, across the board. And if we know that TikTok has been, one of the biggest sparks, for the pro-Palestinian movement, then it does seem like it's a problem for them. So my guess is yes, but again, I never want to discount the power of people. And if there are enough people against it, and we do see some major mobilizations over the next week, then maybe they won't go through with it. But another thing that I think is interesting, and I think we were supposed to, get to this for the last topic, but is essentially the fact that Trump is now retweeting Jeffrey Sachs, or sharing, Jeffrey Sachs' criticism of Benjamin Netanyahu. So it seems like there may be some trouble in paradise when it comes to Zionism. However, my honest opinion again there is Trump wants folks to take a little step back because he can read the room about what's going on right now before they take a big step forward. And the only reason why I think Trump still wants to take that big step forward with Zionism is because if you follow the money trails around Trump and you look at his history, he seems like someone who cares a lot about money. He surrounded himself with Zionists. His quote unquote favorite daughter, Ivanka, who he seems to favor above, some of his other kids, is married to someone who's invested in the destruction of Gaza. So overall, the ties make me feel like he's going to go in that direction when it's all said and done. But I think, there is some fatigue in America right now, specifically, when it comes to sending weapons to Israel and Ukraine, as our country is literally burning down in front of our eyes. So I think he's picking up on that vibe right now.